Oh, I thought my friends. Oh, they are. Hi, guys. Make sure you guys come to the front so you can see good. We got special seats right up here. Oh, are we recording now? So should we get started? Guys, should we get started? Yeah. Should we? Yeah.
This, just move the speaker in front, but don't like that. Yeah.
It's not moving.
Yes. This to move the speaker in front. Okay. This to move the actual slides. So
Okay.
it's separate.
Okay. Wait, isn't it the same?
It is. It is.
Okay, so it doesn't matter.
Because we need to screenshot the live footage.
Oh, okay.
Wait, maybe start with telling everyone to make sure they have Python installed. Like, not Python. Replit account and Discord account.
Okay. Okay, sure.
Okay. So last up.
The server hasn't run.
Honestly, just the block. So it's not. Oh, yes, but
Hey guys, welcome to our workshop. This is our first ever intern workshop. I'm Jasmine, by the way.
Hi, I'm Siddhant.
And I'm Reva.
All right, cool. So today we'll be getting introduced to APIs using Discord and a Pokemon database. If you guys aren't familiar, is everybody here familiar with Discord? I'm sure. Yes. Okay. So if you aren't familiar, for the people online, Discord is practically a text messaging app used on many devices. What we'll be doing today is creating a bot that essentially grabs informations using API. All right. Is there something wrong with the? Change the permission? Oh, is it? Okay. Okay. Okay, we're good. So an API is a application programming interface. It's a communicator between two software platforms and exchanges information within each other. And yeah. Okay. So why are APIs useful? Wait, one sec. Okay. Nowadays, 85% of companies are currently using APIs. Companies such as Amazon, Google, and many more tech leading companies have adopted APIs and use them for their operations. They make it easy for wait. Sorry about that. Can you also remove that? Guys. Okay. They make it easier for different programs to work together, saving time and effort for developers. They also allow for customization and innovation by letting I can't see it. Okay. By letting developers access specific features or data, APIs help create a smoother experience for users and open up new possibilities on building on existing technology. So this is a type of APIs that we'll be using today in our session, REST APIs and WebSocket. So a REST API stands for Representational State Transfer, which is a web service with an architectural design, uses HTTP requests to post, put, get, and delete data. These APIs are often exposed over a simple URL, and applications can interact with this API by making a HTTP requests to this URL and endpoint. So when you think about REST APIs, think about how it's more of a user request type API. So think of Instagram refresh feeds. When you scroll up, you send a request, and the API starts processing that. But for the WebSocket, it is more of a two-way communication channel. It is always live, and it does not need a user request to process things. So think of like a text messages when they send when two people are communicating back and forth, they don't need some sort of like user request. All right, and I'm going to hand it over to Rita.
Okay, so I'm just going to go over some quick components of an API request. So the four that I'm going to go over right now is the endpoint, method, headers, and body. So an endpoint is essentially a URL, a specific URL where you're going to get data from. So in our case, we're going to be using the PokeAPI.co to receive data directly from the Pokemon API. As for method is going to tell us the operation that the client will perform on the data. So previously we had get, post, and delete in our slide, but there's many more like patch, and there's more that I forgot. But now we have headers, and headers is essentially going to give us additional information about the request. So things that we could specify is the content type. So when we get an API response, response from our API request, it could be in many different formats. So it could be in XML, it could be in HTML, it can be in JSON. So we want to make sure that we specify the format that we want it in so that when we get a response in our body where our actual data will be, it will be in that format. And before we specify that format that we want to make sure that it is supported by our service or server. And authorization, right in here, that it's in this image, would be like a secret key, or like for ChatGPT at least, there's going to be an API key, because to use that API, it costs money. So you don't want to be letting anyone use that API key, because then you're losing money. And then lastly, we have body, which is going to be the actual data that is necessary to create, update, and delete a resource. So that's just a quick overview of what a structure is going to look like. This one's in JavaScript, so it's going to look different depending on what language you're in and which client you're using. And we'll go over this more in depth in our actual coding example. All right, so now I'm just going to go over an API response. An API response has two parts. It has a response body and a response status. So when your bot or application makes a request to the API asking for data, the API sends back a response. And in this response, well, for example, for body, is the actual data that is sent back by the API. It can come in different formats like I discussed earlier, and you just need to indicate to the server the type you want. And then for the status, it's going to be a code. So we all know 404 not found, and 200 means okay. And we're going to see this again in our code later to handle different kind of response status codes.
All right, so this is a diagram that I drew for how this setup will work. So we're going to set up this Discord bot, and we're going to ask this Discord bot for a specific Pokemon. For example, we have a command and then we ask for Pikachu. So what Discord will do is take this information and then send it to a REST API, which will connect both the Discord and Pokemon API. And so what the REST service will do then from there, we'll go to the Pokemon API database and find the specific Pokemon that we're looking for. So after we get the Pokemon, we have a format that we will be coding in a REST API service, which will be like what kind of response that you want to get from this bot based on the Pokemon that you get. So if you want like Pikachu, we can return information on like their type, what they look like, more about their weight, like size, etc. Whatever information that you want from the Pokemon, you can just code it in with the REST API service. Then the REST API service will make that readable for the user in Discord. So it'll send it back to Discord and it'll reply, Pikachu is a electric type Pokemon, etc., etc. And yeah, this will be what we'll be trying to do for our project.
Okay. So now we're going to get set up. And I'm just going to go through some steps before we actually jump in, but we're going to install the Discord bot. We're going to add the bot to the server, install requests, and then finally code the bot abilities. So to install the Discord bot, you guys are going to need to go to the Discord developers portal. So if you first go to this, our slide deck, then you can access all of the links that we're going to have later on. And we're going to also have code snippets. Hopefully you guys don't get coding before we start live coding, but it'll just be easier if you pull up the slides. You can also just search up Discord developers portal. All right. Let me use this. All right. I'm just going to wait for you guys to get on there first. Yeah. We're not there yet.
Is everybody on the Discord developer portal? Yeah? Okay.
Let's get started. I'm not going to hold it, by the way. Okay. So you can call your application anything you want. Right now, I'm just gonna call this test. That's big enough. Okay, then let's create it. So once you've done that, you can also add an image if you want, but I'm gonna move on. So go under installation and then make sure guild install is checked off. And then under install link, make sure to tag on Discord provided link. Is everyone at this stage? Who is not at this stage? Okay, then can you guys walk around? Make sure everyone is, yeah. Make sure everyone's on the same page. I'm gonna also come around. Hi, because I'm seeing some new people arriving. Hi. Okay, so just go to Discord developers portal. Yeah, right there, right there. Right here. Yes, perfect. Thanks for joining. Yeah? Oh no, because new people came in, so I want to make sure everyone's, yeah, new application. And then test, or whatever you want to call it. Yeah. Yeah, perfect. And if you want to move up to the school, that would make sense. Okay, I'm gonna assume that everyone is on the same page. All right, and the reason why we're leaving it as guild install is just because we are going to be adding our Discord bot to a server later on. If you wanted to do DMs, then I think you would do user install, but we're going to leave it at guild install. And then let's go to the next slide. All right. So we're going to go to the bot settings. Oh, sorry. Save your changes before you move on, by the way. All right. Sorry, before you go to the bot tab, you're still at the installation tab. We're right here. And then go to the very end. And then at scopes, add bot. And then in permissions, you're going to want to have your Discord bot be able to read messages and send messages. So that it's exactly the permissions we're going to add. So read messages / read channels and send messages. And then make sure to save your changes because I totally forgot to do that earlier. Okay. We're good? Yeah? Okay. Okay. I'm gonna move on then. And now we're gonna go to the bot tab. And then within bot, you want to go down to message content intent. So this might be harder to find, so you can also just Command F message content intent. And what we're gonna do is just turn that on. And we want the message content intent because this is gonna let us read messages that we communicate with the Discord bot, and it's just gonna help us get any messages that were sent back by the Discord bot. And we'll see that later again in the code. Okay. So now we're done with that. Let's see. Okay, so now we're gonna navigate to Discord. You can go to your Discord. And then you want to create a server, a personal server. But if you also already have one, feel free to use that to put your bot in. And I am going to walk around to make sure that nobody is lost. Yeah. Yes, perfect. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. It doesn't ask you to save changes, right?
Oh, I see.
Oh, you did? Okay, perfect. Hi, do you need help? Is it happening? Do you need help?
Oh, you got it? Okay.
So right now we're just trying to get our personal servers set up on Discord. So if you guys could go to Discord and get a server ready to go. Is everything good? Yeah, she's got it. And you save changes? Perfect. Okay. So now go to Discord and get a server set up. Yeah, you're gonna have to log in, my bad. But you can stay here. Do you think you can catch up? Yeah. Okay. You can just, there's a tiny URL. It's not on that slide, but it's just tinyurl.com, GDSC dash Discord bot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yes. Do you have a bot set up? Sorry, not a bot, a server. Yeah. Okay. Before I get there, thanks. Where am I? Here. Okay. Okay, so once you guys have your server ready, this is kind of cut off. Also, if you're having trouble figuring out how to create a server, just go to the very end of all of your servers and add a server. And you can call it whatever. Thumbs up, please, guys. I don't want to leave anyone behind. Okay, okay. Okay, I'm going to move on. Sorry for the people who do not have a server yet. I'm sorry. Okay, so go to installation. We're going to go back to the developer portal. I'm so sorry. Developer portal. And we're going to go to the Discord provided link. Copy that. Oh my God. Is it? Why is your thing so wide? Okay, here. Copy that. I can't fucking use a Mac. I'm sorry. My bad. Okay. Add a new tab and then copy, paste that link. Okay. And then the server that you want to use, which one do you want to use? Okay. Use that server. It should show up if you created the server. Continue. And then make sure read and sign messages are checked off and authorize. Okay. And now if you check back your server, you'll see that the bot has been added. Is that the one? Yeah. Okay, and now we're ready to code up our bot functionalities. Yeah. Yes. This sounds new tab. Oh, you got it?
Hi, can everyone hear me? Okay. So give a thumbs up if you've added a bot to your server, or thumbs down if you haven't yet. Oh, you haven't? Oh, okay.
Oh, I can help.
Is everyone else ready? Could you show a thumbs up if you're done? Like if you added a bot to your server? Okay. So I'm going to move on now. So in order to code the actual bot, we're going to be using a website called Replit. It's an online editor and it's really convenient to use. Just search up Replit and just sign in. So once you're in Replit, just use a Python default template. We're going to be using Python to code this, as it's going to be the easiest to understand. So just click on use template and then Python and just make a project basically. And you can skip the tutorials because it's fairly straightforward. Does everyone have Replit open? Oh, the Replit one? Oh, are you on replit.com? Okay. Is anyone else on this step? Are you guys?
Yeah. I did it a while back. Oh.
Okay, does everyone have a blank Python project? Okay. So now that we have an empty project, we want to actually use the bot, right? And the way you can do that is you need a token. This token is going to be extremely private. I'm going to show mine just for the sake of this workshop, but make sure no one else sees it. The way you get this token is you go to bot, and then here you have token, right? Does everyone else see this? Just click on reset token. Even if you haven't seen it, you still need to reset it and put in your password. And you're going to have to give me a second because I don't remember my password. Yeah, should.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I don't know what my password is. Wait, let me just minute, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Nice.
Okay. So once you have your, could I have everyone's attention, please? Hey guys. Okay, thank you. So once you have your token, just copy this and go to the Replit project you have made. Wait, does everyone have the token first? Just okay. So yeah. So once you have your token, just make a variable token and just save it there. That way you can just if you want to change it, you can just reset and you just change this variable and it's done. Can everyone see this screen by the way? I'm going to assume yes. Uh, okay, does everyone have the token ready? I'm just gonna move on. Okay. So now that you have the token, we're gonna set up a simple hello world type bot which just responds with hi. When you talk to it, it's just gonna say hi. It's gonna do nothing else, right? This is the base, the simplest you can get basically. And the code is here. So if you have trouble following along, or if you're quick, you can just copy this. I'm gonna first start by importing Discord. Since we're using Replit, I believe it should download the packages automatically. But in case it doesn't, we can get to that later. And we also need to import the request packages. These packages are going to make it easy for us to communicate to the bot, basically. The Discord package uses Discord, the request package just uses normal requests. And we also want to make an intent variable. If you remember previously, we made a message content intent like true. This basically just reinforces that on our side. And since we are using Replit, it suggests a lot of the time the stuff it suggests is going to be accurate, but I would still suggest just looking at this first, and then if you want to like tab and like just fill it in. And this is what we're, as I said, we're just making the message content true. And now we make the client. The client is a simple variable. It's going to take, it's just going to basically create like an object. If you've ever done object-oriented programming, it's just going to be an easy way to communicate. That's it basically. And these two functions are the ones that are more important now. We want the bot to do what we want, right? Like we have to customize that. So in order to do it, we have to tag two functions, the onReady function and the onMessage function. The way you tag it is you just make a function, right? Like here we have async definition onReady and this, right? The client's not going to know that this is an onReady function without tagging it here. So what the onReady function does is it runs the second this bot can communicate with Discord. So if you, for example, copied your token incorrectly, it's gonna error out here basically because it's not able to connect. But if you did everything correctly, it's going to print out we have logged in as client user, and we can actually run the client just using the client.run token, and I believe running this. Yeah, so it's gonna automatically install Discord.py and requests. These are the packages we're using, and once it's done, it should print out we have logged in. Oh, I made a typo, but just fixing this and then running it again should. Oh, right. Yeah, so we have logged in as bot, and then there's a bunch of numbers. If you named your bot something else, it's going to show that basically. It's going to be the name that your bot got. Since I believe we did test, and there's a lot of bots named test because makes sense. It gave us just a random number. So has everyone gotten here? Does everyone see this message? Show a thumbs up if you're ready, by the way. Yeah? Okay. Yeah, thumbs up. All right. Sick. So now we have the onReady function, right? The bot can communicate with the server. We know this. So now we define the second function, which is the onMessage. We copy the same format. We have client event, and then we name it onMessage. The onMessage function is going to have one item in its parameter, the message, right? This is going to be triggered every time it detects a message on your server. It's going to call this function with what the message was. And it's just going to be another object. And we can print the message just to see if it's working using this. So f quotes basically just is a Python thing. It just formats the text with the variable inside. So we have message author, who is going to be who the message is coming from, right? And then we have message content, which is what the message says. And now we can, so at this step, the bot is listening to all your messages, right? And there's a number of things we can do. So the if statement here, we're going to ignore that just for a minute, and we're going to directly go to the await message. The await message uses the channel, and it sends a simple string. It has to be a string because that's the core of text, right? There's no other format because Discord's not going to understand it. Discord only sees text messages. So, all right. Okay. So I'm just going to say hello world. And I'm going to run the bot again. And once it says that it's logged in, okay. So yeah. Yeah. So I'm going to say the bot's active here. You can see it's online, right? That means that it's working. And if I say hello, the bot's going to spam. Does anyone know why it's spamming? It has something to do with the thing I just skipped. Okay. So I'm going to stop the bot. The reason it's doing this, the reason it's doing this is because the bot is responding to every message, right? That means it's responding to its own message as well. And that's not good. That's why it's going to keep looping, and it's essentially never going to stop. The way we stop this is we just add a check. If the message author, that means who the message is coming from, right? So when you send a message, your ID is going to be the author, and the client user. The client user is going to be the bot, basically. It's going to be the thing representing the bot. So if they are the same object, then we just return, because we don't really need to interact with ourselves, right? And now if we rerun the bot, now if we rerun the bot, it should just print one hello world, and then that's it. Is everyone with me so far? Yeah, thumbs up. Okay, all right. So this was the most basic Discord bot we can do, right? But that's not our objective. Our objective is a Pokemon Discord bot. The way we do this is through an API service. Pokemon API, if you look at this screen, I'll just show it here as well. Pokemon API, or like Poke API, is a free and public REST service. What they do is they have a list of all Pokemons, their abilities, their names, their weights, their moves, everything. And this is what we're going to be using, right? Because this is the whole point of APIs. We use APIs so that we don't have to keep repeating information. We can just trust that these guys maintain the list of Pokemon, and we just use them. They're free as well, so you don't have to log in. You don't have to create tokens for this. We simply make requests. So I'm going to go to my code, and on the on message, I'm going to now start typing the code required to interact with the bot. So first thing we want to do is we don't want the bot to respond to every message, right? If you're talking to your friend, you don't want to have the bot interrupt every conversation with a Pokemon fact. We only want it to respond when we talk to it. And the way we do that is with message.content starts with hello. Instead of hello, we're going to have exclamation mark and then Pokemon. So this is a check that if the message starts with Pokemon, only then we actually give a fact, or then we respond. So we only respond if it's within this. And then what I like to do is I like to split the whole message into separate words. That way we know the first word is exclamation mark Pokemon. And then we know the second word is going to be the Pokemon's name, right? So the bot we're trying to make is going to give you a Pokemon fact. You type !Pokemon Charizard, it's going to tell you who Charizard is, what its ID is, what its height is, stuff like that, right? So the second word of the message has to be the Pokemon name. We can add another check if length of the content isn't 2. That means the user has given only one word, no Pokemon, extra Pokemon, stuff like that. Stuff which we don't anticipate, basically, we just ignore. So we send a message saying just invalid input. And if it's correct, if it's 2 words, we just print out the Pokemon's name for now. So I'm just gonna do this. And I'm gonna store the Pokemon name in a variable so that it's easier than just continuously saying content and then index 1. And then I'm going to print out the Pokemon name. And I'm going to remove the hello world as well, because we don't really need that anymore. We're actually sending like valid data. So restart your server by just stopping it and then just running it again on Replit. And when you say !Pokemon and then you name a Pokemon, for now it should just print out its name, because we're not really doing anything with it. If you don't give it any name, it should say invalid input. Or if you give it too many names, like 2 Pokemon, it should also say invalid input, because we don't expect that. Does everyone get what I'm getting? Yeah, okay. For now, the way you can do it is just do this. If it's Mr. Mimer something, just add a dash manually. If you want, after this workshop, you can just make a more intricate design that does not need to do this, basically. Yeah. Right now, the assumption is that the Pokemon we're using has one word in its name. I'll go back to the code. By the way, just feel free to give me a thumbs up when you're done. That way I can move on. All right. Does anyone need any help? Okay. So now I'm going to move on. Now I'm going to actually fetch the information about the Pokemon. The way we do this, as I mentioned, is using a Poke API. And so we have the Pokemon name, right? We form a request using the request packages, a GET request. And we type in just the URL of the website. Is pokeapi.co. And so this endpoint is going to give you information about the Pokemon. And in the last, like after the slash, right? The last thing has to be the name of the Pokemon. So this is going to ask Poke API basically, hey, I want this Pokemon. What do you know about it? And now Poke API will either know who it is. So if it's Charizard, it's going to give you Charizard, right? If it does not know, so if you give it a Digimon or a Yu-Gi-Oh card, right? It's not going to know what that is. So the way it tells you the status is through the status code. So if it's 200, that means it was able to find it, it was able to send it to us, and we have the perfect information. But if it's 404 or any other status code, so if it's like 500 or any other status code that isn't 200, we know that there was some problems with it. So what we can do is check for status code. We discussed earlier in the slides, status code 404 means not found, right? So if it's 404, it means the Poke API server is basically telling us, hey, there wasn't any Pokemon with this name. And we have to respond accordingly. So in this instance, we just send a message that says Pokemon not found. So this is just a little check in case things aren't going the way the bot wants. I'm going to ignore this for now, like the suggestion, and we're going to move on, right? So 200, we found the Pokemon. Now what? We have to form a string message, right? So as I said before, the message is just going to be text, and the text we want is going to be has to be created by us, formatting through the JSON. You can make a Pokemon variable that takes the body of the response, right? So we have the response. Now we're converting it to JSON. JSON is just like a dictionary in Python, if you ever used it. And we showed like an example of it previously. Right. So we have this. Now we want to make the message. The way we make the message is we have an output string. So the output string, the first line of the string, right? We want it to be the name of the Pokemon. So we just do a hashtag. What hashtag does is it basically tells Discord that, hey, this line is supposed to be bold, like large, like MS Word basically. You're clicking on the title setting for that sentence. So we have here Pokemon, and then we index the name. Also, if you're curious on what there is, right? Because you don't know what the JSON is going to look like, you can just copy paste the link. You can open a new tab and replace it with a Pokemon you know. So I really like Charizard. Wait, that's my bad. Yeah. So I really like Charizard, right? So I'm going to put Charizard in the thing. And I know it looks like a lot, but if you click pretty print, it should organize everything in a neat manner. And you can see all the information this service has for us. So I see ID here, right? This can be helpful. We can list out the ID of the Pokemon, right? Let's add that to the input. Give me a sec. Yeah. So I want the ID of the Pokemon right after the name. So I'm going to format it neatly. I'm going to put it in square brackets. Pokemon, and then ID. So this is now going to tell us the ID of the Pokemon. I'm going to put another line of code that sends the string that we've just made. So this is pretty self-explanatory, I believe. And now if we restart the server and we go to our Discord chat, I'm going to say Pokemon, and I'm going to give it Pikachu because I haven't tried that yet. And as you can see here, Pikachu, 25. That's the ID of Pikachu. You can Google this. Now, I want to add an image of it as well. I want to see what the Pokemon I'm talking about is. And if I go to the response, right, I'm going to try searching for where it says the image is. I'm going to just Command F and search for sprites. So also, there is a more dignified way of doing this. You can just go to the Poke API website, and they give you information. So if you go to the documentation, you can basically see what all they provide. You don't have to do it this way. So sprites, and then front default. That's the one I want to print out, basically, right? I'm going to go to my code, and then I'm going to add a new line to the string. I'm going to add \n so that it goes to the next line. and then I'm going to append a new string. Also, if any of these words don't make sense, just tell me. I don't mind explaining this. Now I want to print out the URL of the image because that's how Discord displays it. So it should be Pokemon and then sprites. And inside sprites, it was front default, as we saw. And I'm going to also remove this in the beginning. This was sending the Pokemon name. We're already doing that in a separate function. So if we restart the server and we say Pokemon, and I'm not sure how to spell this, so I hope this is right. Yeah, Bulbasaur is the first Pokemon added to the Pokedex, and this is its sprite. Does this make sense to everyone? Yeah. So here's the code how I achieved this. If you have any questions about any line, feel free to raise your hand. Yeah. You can. Does everyone follow through? Yeah, any questions? Yeah, so the response we get here, right? I'm just going to explain why we're doing it like this, basically. When we get the body and we know the body is correct, we make it into JSON and we print it out like this. So now at this point, you're basically done with all of the features. We can add more stuff if we want. We can add its weight. And it's pretty simple. You just go to the website, you look at the key you want, and then you just print it. So this is a Pokédex bot that we just made. Now, as you can see, only a few lines of it were actually related to the Pokemon. And only like about 10 lines were related to the Pokemon, right? So if you want, you can go to a list of public APIs that I have here. It's also on the slide. And you can spend the next 5-10 minutes basically exploring yourself. You can make a cat fact bot or a bot that sends a picture of a dog when you call it. And I basically want you to explore for the next 10 minutes and try coming up with a unique bot. Yeah, and the link for this is here, the GitHub link for this. Yeah, if you have any questions, raise your hand. I'll come up and help you. I'm also going to keep this code up so you have a better understanding of like how to make requests. But yeah. Yeah. Thank you for coming to the workshop.